Have you ever felt like you're constantly chasing after your dreams, but they always seem just out of reach? Well, what if I told you that there's a better way? A way that doesn't involve struggle, stress, or endless pursuit. This is where Louise Hay's incredible wisdom comes in. Her idea about never pursuing anything might sound crazy at first, but trust me, it's not what you think. It's actually about attracting what you want instead of chasing it. And this simple shift in thinking can change your entire life. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you wanted something so badly, only to find that the harder you try to get it, the further away it seems? It's like trying to catch a butterfly. The more you run after it, the more it flutters away. But what if you could make that butterfly come to you instead? That's exactly what Louise Hay teaches us to do, not just with butterflies, but with everything we want in life. Now you might be wondering, is this too good to be true? Well, let me tell you why it's not just. Imagine you're on a treadmill, running as fast as you can. You're sweating, your heart is pounding, and your legs are burning. But no matter how hard you run, you're not actually getting anywhere. That's what life can feel like when we're constantly pursuing things. We chase after success, love, happiness, and wealth, thinking that if we just try hard enough, we'll finally catch them. But more often than not, we end up feeling tired, frustrated, and no closer to our goals than when we started. This is the trap that so many of us fall into. We believe that if we want something, we need to go after it with all our might. We push ourselves to the limit, sacrificing our health, our relationships, and our peace of mind in the process. And what's the result? Usually it's burnout, disappointment, and a sense that no matter what we do, it's never enough. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. Louise Hay shows us a different path, one that leads to the same destination, but without all the struggle and stress. It's a path of attraction rather than pursuit, of allowing rather than forcing. And the best part? It actually works. Think about how much energy you've spent chasing after things in your life. Maybe it was a job you really wanted, or a relationship you thought would make you happy. How did that work out for you? If you're like most people, you probably found that the things you pursued so desperately either didn't live up to your expectations or slipped through your fingers entirely. But what if you could bring those good things to you without all that struggle? What if, instead of exhausting yourself running after your dreams, you could learn to attract them effortlessly? That's the promise of Louise Hay's teaching, and it's a promise that has transformed countless lives. Now you might be wondering, who is this Louise Hay, and why should I listen to her? Well, let me tell you a bit about this remarkable woman and why her words carry so much weight. Louise Hay wasn't always a world-renowned spiritual teacher and self-help guru. In fact, her early life was filled with challenges that would have broken many people. She experienced abuse as a child, dropped out of high school, and became a single mother at a young age. She faced poverty, battled cancer, and dealt with more than her fair share of heartbreak and disappointment. But instead of letting these experiences defeat her, Louise used them as stepping stones to wisdom. She began to study different spiritual and metaphysical teachings, looking for answers to life's big questions. And in the process, she discovered something incredible: the power we all have to shape our own lives through our thoughts and beliefs. Louise realized that many of the problems we face in life are actually reflections of our inner world. Our thoughts, she discovered, have a profound impact on our experiences. And by changing our thoughts, we can change our lives. This might sound simple, but it's actually a revolutionary idea. Think about it. How often do we blame our circumstances, other people, or just plain bad luck for the things that go wrong in our lives? But Louise Hay teaches us that we have more control than we realize. We're not victims of our circumstances. We're creators of our reality. Over the years, Louise shared her insights through books, lectures, and workshops. Her most famous book, You Can Heal Your Life, has sold millions of copies worldwide and has been translated into dozens of languages. People from all walks of life have found hope, healing, and transformation through her teachings. What makes Louise's wisdom so powerful is its simplicity. She doesn't use complicated jargon or confusing concepts. Instead, she offers practical, down-to-earth advice that anyone can understand and apply. Her message is clear. You have the power to create the life you want, and it all starts with your thoughts. But Louise Hay's teachings aren't just about positive thinking. They're about a whole new way of approaching life. And at the heart of this approach is the idea that we don't need to pursue the things we want. Instead, we can learn to attract them. This might sound a bit strange at first. After all, we're taught from a young age that if we want something, we need to go out and get it. Work hard, push yourself, never give up. These are the messages we hear over and over again. And there's nothing wrong with hard work and perseverance. But Louise Hay shows us that there's another way, a way that's actually more effective and a lot more enjoyable. So what exactly does it mean to attract rather than pursue? Well, it's all about changing your energy and your focus. Instead of desperately chasing after what you want, you learn to align yourself with it. You become the kind of person who naturally attracts the things you desire. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing, hoping that good things will magically appear in your life. It's about taking inspired action, guided by your inner wisdom rather than driven by fear or desperation. It's about trusting in the process of life and knowing that what's meant for you will come to you at the right time. Louise Hay's approach is based on the idea that the universe is abundant and that there's more than enough for everyone. When we come from a place of lack and desperation, we actually push away the very things we want. But when we cultivate an attitude of abundance and gratitude, we open ourselves up to receive all the good that life has to offer. This might sound a bit woo-woo or too good to be true, but there's actually a lot of science that backs up Louise's teachings. Research in fields like positive psychology and neuroscience has shown that our thoughts and beliefs have a powerful impact on our experiences and outcomes in life. When we change our thinking, we literally change our brain, and this in turn changes our reality. But perhaps the most compelling evidence for Louise Hay's wisdom is the countless lives that have been transformed by it. People who were once stuck in cycles of negativity and failure have found success and happiness by applying her principles. Relationships have been healed, careers have flourished, and health has improved, all through the power of changing one's thoughts and approach to life. So, if you're tired of the endless pursuit, if you're ready for a new way of living that brings you what you want without all the struggle, then Louise Hay's teachings might be just what you need. In the rest of this video, we're going to dive deeper into her approach, exploring practical ways you can start attracting instead of pursuing. We'll look at the power of positive thinking, the importance of self-love, and how to let go of the need to control everything. Remember, this isn't about making your life perfect overnight. It's about starting a journey of transformation, one thought at a time. And as Louise Hay herself often said, you've been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. So, are you ready to try something new? Are you ready to stop the endless pursuit and start attracting the life you truly want? If so, then let's continue this journey together, exploring the life-changing wisdom of Louise Hay. The problem with pursuing, why chasing your dreams might be holding you back. Have you ever felt like you're running on a hamster wheel, always chasing after something but never quite getting there? That's exactly what happens when we fall into the trap of constant pursuit. We've been taught that if we want something, we need to go after it with everything we've got. Work harder, push further, never give up. That's the recipe for success, right? Well, not quite. The truth is, this approach often backfires. When we're always in pursuit mode, we create a lot of stress and pressure for ourselves. We're constantly focused on what we don't have, on the gap between where we are and where we want to be. This can lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, and even depression. It's like we're telling ourselves over and over again, I'm not good enough yet. I'll be happy when I finally achieve this goal. But here's the kicker. Even when we do achieve our goals, that feeling of satisfaction is often short-lived. Before we know it, we're off chasing the next thing. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll feel successful when I make this much money, or I'll be content when I find the perfect relationship? And then, when you actually get those things, how long does that happiness last? If you're like most people, you probably find yourself quickly setting new goals, always reaching for the next level. This constant pursuit can also blind us to the good things we already have in our lives. We're so focused on what's missing that we fail to appreciate what's already there. It's like we're on a beautiful hike, but instead of enjoying the scenery, we're so fixated on reaching the summit that we miss all the wonders along the way. Moreover, when we're in pursuit mode, we often push too hard. We might neglect our health, our relationships, or our own well-being in the name of achieving our goals. We might make decisions out of desperation or fear rather than from a place of wisdom and alignment with our true selves. And here's another problem with constant pursuit. It can actually push away the very things we're trying to attract. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it flies away. But if you sit quietly in a garden, there's a good chance a butterfly might land right on your shoulder. So, if pursuing our dreams isn't the answer, what is? That's where Louise Hay's alternative approach comes in. Louise Hay offers us a completely different way of looking at how we create the life we want. Instead of chasing after our desires, she teaches us to attract them. Now, this might sound a bit mystical or unclear at first, but it's actually a very practical and powerful approach. The core of Louise's teaching is this: what we focus on expands. In other words, the thoughts and beliefs we hold in our minds tend to manifest in our lives. So if we're constantly thinking about what we lack, guess what? We'll keep experiencing lack. But if we shift our focus to abundance, gratitude, and positivity, we start to attract more positive experiences and opportunities. This doesn't mean we should ignore our problems or pretend everything is perfect when it's not. It's about changing our overall perspective and energy. Instead of coming from a place of desperation or lack, we come from a place of confidence and trust. Here's how it works in practice. Let's say you want a new job. The pursuit approach would have you sending out hundreds of resumes, constantly stressing about when you'll hear back, and feeling discouraged with each rejection. The attraction approach, on the other hand, would involve visualizing yourself in your ideal job, feeling the satisfaction and joy it brings you. You'd work on building your skills and confidence and trust that the right opportunity will come at the right time. This might sound too simple or even a bit silly, but there's actually a lot of science behind it. When we visualize positive outcomes and cultivate positive emotions, we literally change our brain chemistry. We become more creative, more resilient, and more open to opportunities. We start to notice things we might have missed before, and we approach challenges with a more solution-oriented mindset. Moreover, when we're not desperately pursuing something, we often make better decisions. We're not acting out of fear or scarcity, but from a place of alignment with our true selves. This means we're more likely to attract opportunities that are genuinely right for us, rather than just grabbing at anything that comes along. Louise's approach also involves taking inspired action. This doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing, expecting good things to magically appear. It means listening to your intuition, following your joy, and taking steps that feel right to you. When you're aligned with your true desires and operating from a place of positivity, you'll often find that the right actions become clear. Think of it like this. Instead of pushing against the current, trying to force things to happen, you're learning to flow with the river of life. You're still moving towards your goals, but you're doing it in a way that feels easier and more natural. Now that we understand the basic idea of attraction versus pursuit, let's dive deeper into one of the key elements of Louise Hay's teaching: the power of positive thinking. You've probably heard the phrase "think positive" many times before. It might even sound a bit cliché, but Louise Hay shows us that positive thinking is much more than just putting on a happy face or pretending everything is okay when it's not. It's about fundamentally changing the way we view ourselves and the world around us. Our thoughts are incredibly powerful. They shape our emotions, our actions, and ultimately our reality. Think about it. Have you ever woken up in a bad mood and then everything seemed to go wrong that day? Or conversely, have you ever started your day feeling great and found that good things kept happening? That's the power of your thoughts and attitudes in action. Louise Hay teaches that we have the ability to choose our thoughts. This might sound strange at first. After all, thoughts seem to just pop into our heads, right? But while we can't control the initial thoughts that come to us, we can control which thoughts we focus on and give energy to. Here's a simple exercise to demonstrate this. Take a moment right now to think of something you're grateful for. It could be anything: your health, a loved one, a beautiful sunset you saw recently. Notice how focusing on this positive thought makes you feel. Your energy likely lifted a bit, right? That's the power of positive thinking in action. Now, this doesn't mean we should ignore negative thoughts or pretend everything is perfect all the time. That's not realistic or helpful. Instead, Louise teaches us to acknowledge our negative thoughts, but then consciously choose to shift our focus to more positive, empowering thoughts. For example, let's say you make a mistake at work. Your first thought might be, "I'm so stupid. I always mess things up." But instead of dwelling on this negative thought, you could choose to think, "I made a mistake, but that's okay. I'm human and I can learn from this." Over time, as we practice this kind of positive thinking, it becomes more natural. We start to automatically look for the good in situations, to focus on solutions rather than problems. And as our thoughts become more positive, our experiences tend to follow suit. But positive thinking isn't just about feeling good. It actually changes our brain chemistry and our behavior. When we think positively, we release neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which not only make us feel better, but also enhance our cognitive functions. We become more creative, more resilient, and better at problem solving. Moreover, positive thinking changes how we interact with the world. When we expect good things to happen, we're more likely to notice opportunities and take action on them. We approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. And interestingly, our positive attitude often influences how others respond to us, creating a kind of positive feedback loop. Louise Hay encourages us to use affirmations as a tool for cultivating positive thinking. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves, either out loud or in our minds. For example, "I am worthy of love and respect," or "I attract abundance into my life easily and effortlessly." At first, these affirmations might feel strange or even false. That's okay. The point isn't to convince yourself of something you don't believe. It's to plant seeds of new, more positive beliefs. Over time, as you repeat these affirmations, they start to sink in. They begin to counteract the negative self-talk that many of us are used to. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. That's not realistic or even desirable. Negative emotions and thoughts have their place. They can alert us to dangers or areas in our lives that need attention. The key is to not let these negative thoughts dominate. It's about creating a more balanced, positive overall mindset. As you practice positive thinking, you might find that your whole perspective on life starts to shift. Things that used to bother you might not seem so important anymore. You might find yourself feeling more grateful, more optimistic, and more at peace. And as your inner world becomes more positive, you'll likely notice that your outer world starts to reflect that positivity back to you. This is the essence of Louise Hay's teaching on attraction. By cultivating positive thoughts and beliefs, we create a positive energy that attracts positive experiences and opportunities. It's not magic. It's simply aligning our thoughts, feelings, and actions in a way that opens us up to the good that life has to offer. At the heart of Louise Hay's teachings lies a powerful truth. The relationship we have with ourselves shapes every other aspect of our lives. This is where affirmations and self-love come into play. These aren't just feel-good practices. They're transformative tools that can reshape our entire reality. Let's start with affirmations. An affirmation is simply a positive statement that you repeat to yourself. It might be something like, "I am worthy of love and respect," or "I am capable of achieving my goals." Now you might be thinking, how can just saying something to myself make a difference? But here's the thing. Affirmations work by gradually reprogramming your subconscious mind. You see, many of us have negative beliefs about ourselves that we're not even aware of. These beliefs might have formed in childhood or through difficult experiences, and they often play on repeat in the background of our minds. Affirmations help to counter these negative beliefs by introducing new, positive thoughts. When you first start using affirmations, they might feel fake or uncomfortable. That's okay. It's a sign that you're challenging your existing beliefs. Keep at it, and over time, you'll start to notice a shift. The positive affirmations will begin to feel more natural, and you'll find yourself believing them more and more. Louise Hay encouraged people to look in the mirror while saying their affirmations. This can be a powerful practice because it forces us to confront ourselves directly. Many people find it difficult at first, which just shows how much we need to work on our self-love. Speaking of self-love, this is a concept that's often misunderstood. Self-love isn't about being narcissistic or thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about accepting yourself fully, flaws and all. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you'd offer to a good friend. Louise Hay believed that many of our problems stem from a lack of self-love. When we don't love ourselves, we might accept poor treatment from others, neglect our own needs, or constantly seek validation from outside sources. But when we cultivate self-love, we naturally start to make choices that are better for us. We set healthy boundaries, we pursue our dreams, and we attract relationships that are positive and nurturing. Practicing self-love might involve things like taking care of your body, speaking kindly to yourself, pursuing activities that bring you joy, or simply taking time each day to appreciate your own qualities and achievements. It's about recognizing your own worth, not because of what you do or achieve, but simply because you exist. Remember, self-love is not selfish. In fact, when we love ourselves, we have more love to give to others. We're able to show up more fully in our relationships and contribute more positively to the world around us. One of the most challenging but liberating aspects of Louise Hay's teachings is the idea of letting go of control. In our society, we're often taught that we need to have a tight grip on every aspect of our lives. We try to control our careers, our relationships, our futures. But Louise Hay showed us that this constant need for control actually creates more stress and often prevents us from receiving the good things life has in store for us. Letting go doesn't mean becoming passive or not caring about outcomes. Instead, it's about trusting in the process of life. It's about understanding that while we can set intentions and take actions, we can't control every detail of how things unfold. Think about it like planting a garden. You can choose the seeds, prepare the soil, and water the plants. But you can't control exactly how each plant will grow. You can't force a flower to bloom before it's ready. All you can do is create the right conditions and then trust in the natural process. Louise Hay encouraged people to adopt this same attitude towards life. Set your intentions, take inspired action, and then trust that things will work out as they're meant to. This doesn't mean everything will always go smoothly, but it does mean that even challenges can be viewed as opportunities for growth. When we let go of the need to control everything, we open ourselves up to possibilities we might not have considered before. We become more flexible, more resilient, and often more successful. We're able to go with the flow of life rather than constantly fighting against the current. This approach also helps reduce stress and anxiety. When we're always trying to control everything, we're in a constant state of tension. But when we learn to trust the process, we can relax more. We can enjoy the journey rather than being solely focused on the destination. Letting go of control also involves surrendering our timeline. Often, we have specific ideas about when things should happen in our lives, but life doesn't always conform to our schedules. By letting go of rigid expectations about timing, we allow things to unfold naturally. Often, this leads to even better outcomes than we could have planned ourselves. Now that we've explored Louise Hay's key concepts, let's look at some practical ways to apply these ideas in your everyday life. Start your day with positive affirmations. When you wake up, take a few moments to look in the mirror and say something positive to yourself. It could be as simple as, "I love and accept myself exactly as I am." Practice gratitude. Each day, take time to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small. This shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. Reframe negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and try to reframe the thought in a more positive or neutral way. For example, instead of, "I'm terrible at this," try, "I'm still learning and improving." Take inspired action. Instead of forcing yourself to do things out of obligation, listen to your intuition. What actions feel right and aligned with your goals? Practice self-care. Make time each day to do something kind for yourself. This could be as simple as taking a relaxing bath or reading a book you enjoy. Let go of the need for perfection. Remember that mistakes and challenges are part of the journey. Instead of beating yourself up when things don't go as planned, ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Visualize your goals. Spend time each day visualizing yourself already having achieved your goals. How does it feel? What does your life look like? Practice patience. Remember that change takes time. Be patient with yourself and trust in the process of your personal growth. As we've explored Louise Hay's wisdom, we've uncovered a powerful truth. The key to creating the life we want isn't in endless pursuit, but in learning to attract what we desire through our thoughts, beliefs, and energy. We've learned that positive thinking isn't just about putting on a happy face, but about fundamentally shifting our perspective on ourselves and the world. We've discovered the transformative power of self-love and affirmations, and how they can reprogram our subconscious minds for success and happiness. We've also explored the liberating practice of letting go of control, trusting in life's process while still taking inspired action. And we've looked at practical ways to implement these ideas in our daily lives. Remember, this isn't about achieving perfection or eliminating all challenges from your life. It's about creating a new relationship with yourself and with life itself. It's about learning to flow with life rather than constantly fighting against it. As you begin to apply Louise Hay's teachings, be patient with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll start to notice shifts in your thoughts, your feelings, and your experiences. You have the power to create a life filled with love, joy, and abundance. You don't need to pursue it desperately. Instead, you can learn to attract it by becoming the kind of person who naturally draws these experiences to you. So, are you ready to stop the endless pursuit and start attracting the life you truly want? Remember Louise Hay's words, "You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that." We think so often that we are helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. claim, and consciously use your power. Your journey to a more fulfilling, joyful life starts now. Embrace these teachings, practice them consistently, and watch as your world transforms around you. The power is within you, always has been, always will be. It's time to use it.